Hi, I'm Cathy Ward, and this is the 5th session of a free series, Mindfulness in Difficult Times. The rest of the course and all the recorded meditations are on the website links below in the write-up on this YouTube clip. Have you ever looked round a cafe full of people? You can't hear what they're saying, but you can see their body language. Picture in your mind the person sat in front of you as you walk through the door. They're sat forward and they're talking fast to the person who's laid back, their arms spread out, just making themselves comfortable. The man who walks in next to you, and he's walking like a man on a mission to the back of that queue. And behind are those two young girls sauntering in and chatting, hardly noticing where they're walking. Picture that mum in the middle of the cafe with that child that won't stop screaming. What does her body language tell you? The young man serving as the shop gets busier and busier and the queue is growing. The businessman queuing up, he's just bobbed in for that quick coffee takeaway. And the pensioner that's maybe in front of him in the queue, holding her book, taking her time, looking like she's going to take all day to choose that cake. There's a large group of friends in the corner, all laughing and joking round the table. And across from them there's a couple who've just had a bust-up, and they're sat trying to work it out, and maybe one sat upright with their arms folded, and the other one, their knees jigging up and down, and they're feeling a little bit uptight and tense. Sometimes when people chat, we can sense their body language doesn't match their words. How much you can tell about a person just by watching their body language. What complex people we are. When we speak, we can choose our words carefully. We can even choose our tone. But our emotions and our feelings, when they hit our body, often our body can just react. We have a lot less control over our body language. How much could we learn about ourselves by observing our body's reactions to our thoughts? And maybe turn that round again. How can we use our own bodies to say something to ourselves? Often in difficult times, someone's instinct is to curl up into the fetal position. Think about the posture of a vulnerable person or someone who's lost their confidence. Think about the way they walk, their facial expression, their posture, their eyes. When we are struggling in that difficult time, we sometimes feel we have to push ourselves out into the world again, make ourselves do things. And sometimes that may be true. In the last session I talked about a difficult time in my life when I was in so much pain. I was wild inside. I was like a bear stuck in a trap. I told you about the picture of my life like a room, and there was an elephant in the room. And that elephant was so big. That elephant was called pain, and it took up all the space, and I was squashed up, curled up in the corner. That picture in my mind, I'm curled up in the fetal position. My instinctual body language was closed and pulled in, and it had been for a long time. I wonder, did the people around me notice that my body language was saying broken? This meditation for me was about finding a safe space and a safe place where I could just begin to fill the room again. I wasn't forcing myself back into the world because I wasn't ready for that. And I wasn't making myself do something. I was making myself feel safe enough to take the first, very small step. by gently changing my posture. In the safety of my own space, in my own quiet time, I was gently and kindly uncurling my body and inviting myself to stand up straight again, to hold my head high, to take my place in the world again, setting myself free. And because I was on my own in that room and in that space, it was reminding me that the only person's opinion that counted was really mine, how I felt, how it made me feel. And at first it felt quite strange because my body language had been closed for such a long time. But I was in my safe space and it felt positive and good. And I felt like I was uncurling myself physically and emotionally. Because let's face it, our bodies and our minds do work together. It isn't always okay just to throw ourselves out into the world again. And it isn't okay to tell ourselves just to get on with life. Sometimes we need to be kind to ourselves. We need to uncurl ourselves gently in a safe space. I call this meditation the circles meditation just because those are the movements that I'm making. Big, bold, but gentle. Unforced movements. I'm going to show you the movements now because you're not going to see them on the soundtrack. But I only want you to do the movements that feel comfortable and safe to you. And if medically you've been told that some things aren't a good idea, you're not to do anything that's not right for you. So there's the side arm circle. And there's forwards and backwards, one arm and two arms. And we have the front arm circle, which is more like this, when you have one way and the other way. And then there's the twist round and circle. And I've just knocked a pint of water over doing this, but it's turning like this. But I'm stood up and I'm stood comfortably, and I aim to get a flow with it, and a flow of movement that feels right. So I'm inviting you to give it a go. It might take a while to get going, and it might feel strange, even a little uncomfortable and silly. But a part of me says that's part of it. Observe and notice the discomfort, the likes and the dislikes. Be gentle with yourself. Notice you and be curious about you. Use this as an opportunity to learn about yourself and how you feel. At a time in our life when we just want to curl up in a corner and find a safe place, to uncurl yourself just even for a moment, just to be free and notice you. Or maybe for this season in your life you might find that one of the other meditations works better for you, and that's fine. Put this one in your back pocket, because one day it might be just what you need. The meditations are below. Have a go, and it'll be good to see you next time, but take care.